So guys, there is one topic which is called iApp. Why it is being used? So guys, sometimes customer have a requirement. Let's say they want to deploy complex application. There are some ready-made template which are available on F5. Let's say I want to deploy Outlook application on F5. Let's say I want to deploy Exchange application. So this Outlook application, Exchange application might have 100 of virtual servers, might have 100 of pool members, might have 100 of I roles. So this complex application deployment of F5, you can deploy quickly via iApp. This is a ready-made template which is available by F5 and which will create your application quickly. All these objects, whether virtual server, pool, it can be automated. So only complex application where you want to easy way to create your application. In that way, you can create through iApp. So let's say Exchange application, right? You want to deploy Exchange application or any Sianets application where you have 100 of virtual servers. So you can deploy via iApp. So they have a ready-made easy options to deploy. So they will deploy your popular application with verified and supported configuration. First point. And it has your life cycle. Like you can manage all your virtual servers. You will get to know that template. First, you need to create a template. So how the things when you need to deploy iApp, guys, there are three things which you need to refer. So let's take an example. Let's say you want to deploy OVAX or Outlook Exchange application. In that case, guys, your virtual server, pools, monitors, profiles, policies, iRules will automatically get created. So you just need to first need a template. For each application, there is a separate template. Second thing is you need to answer some questions which they will ask. And then you can deploy. So these are the three things. Rest, it will create. This will automatically get created. So for each application, there is a ready-made template. You need to first call that template, then you need to fill the questions, and then you can deploy your service. So I will show you. So these applications are ready-made templates available. You can deploy Exchange application, Oracle, Intra. Let's say some template which you need to deploy, which are not available. You can call F5 and tell them. So here you can see this, guys. So can you see this? There are two things available. When you go to iApp, there is an application service and there is a template. So template is separate from separate. After that, you need to just call your application there. First, you need to call a template, then your application will be created from that template. So how you can go? You go into this F5, you need to go into this iApp. There is a template. So can you see this? Let's say I want to deploy this template, Exchange application. So it is already been available. And then you need to create your application. Let's say my application is Exchange. Now I will tell that I want to use Exchange template. So I will say this. Now it will ask me these questions. Do you want to deploy Outlook web, Outlook anywhere? Let's say I want to deploy Outlook web app. What is your web server IP address? Let's say my IP address is 10.2.2.30. My web server. Sorry, this is a virtual server. I will say 192.168.1.90. Which load balancing method? I want round robin, let's say, or a least connection. What certificate do you want? Default certificate. What servers? This is your pool member. I'll say 10.2.30 at. How much time you want big IP to check the health monitor? I'll say 30 seconds. What HTTP version you want? Version 1.2. This question you need to fill. Are you deploying any this? This all question needs to be answered by your application owner. Let's say I don't know these things, I will finish. So this will deploy my application exchange. So that is what I did, right? I had a template for exchange. I answered the questions from template and now I am deploying application. So can you see this? By default, everything came in. All the profiles what are required for OVA, all the pool members, certificates keys. So see, I don't know what are the profiles. So everything OVA profile. Now, if I go here on my virtual server, you will see one. Can you see this? And you can see application exchange. Just open this. Every setting will come from that application. See, I did not do anything. Now, if I open this, let's see what happens. Because I don't have that application hosted, that's why it's giving me 404 error. But this is how your Outlook application will open. Whatever profiles is needed, even resources. iRule also is created. Nothing I need to do. I will just use a ready-made template. See, it's an easy button. You just need a single UI. There is a single UI page to create an application. You need to answer the questions and some menus, which I did. Then after that, you can see all the components. Health status, which server is up, which server is down. So just go to iApp template. I've deployed one application. Open it. You will see all the components. If you want to change something, you just need to go to reconfigure. Let's say I want to change the server IP. Maybe I given pool member wrong. So you can do here 31. So you can change also after once you deploy, you can change the settings. So iApp is a ready-made template to deploy complex applications. Easier way to create application. It will automatically create your configuration objects. So it will change your pool member. So that is the logic of your pool member, pool virtual server profiles, how they are deployed on your iApp, how they are deployed through iApp. So that is iApp. Now guys, this is all about how iApp works. Now the last topic is user roles, partitions, and route domain. So in previous class, I was saying that what does this mean? Let's say I have L1 engineer, I have L2 engineer, I have L3 engineer. I want L1 engineer to have only read only access. I want L2 engineer to have read write, and I want L3 engineer to have admin role. So this is how you can prevent. Basically, you want some users to only access GUI. You want some users to access GUI and CLI. You want some users to access advanced shell. So basically, I want to privilege. I want my L1 engineers to have only read only. They don't do any changes or anything. They only have access to resources. They can only see. So you want to apply roles. So how you can do it, guys? So where you can see this, you get to go to users in system tab. Then you need to go to users. Here you can create. So by default, we have admin user. Admin user is the most powerful user role, and it gives complete access to all your objects. So admin is the default user. Now, if I partition, first of all, what is partition? So can you see this partition list? I have AT&T, Infosys, L&T. I want that, first of all, you need to understand what is partition means, guys. See, users, you know that user have multiple users, L1, L2, L3. But what is partition exactly mean? So you should understand partition also. Then we will talk about how we can assign particular user to particular partition. So let's first go to what is partition. So what does partition means is, guys, partition is a logical container. Let's say I have one hardware box, but that hardware box need to be used by three companies: AT&T users, L&T users, and third one is Century Link. I want one F5 to be divided into three customer, but I don't want AT&T users to review L&T configuration. I don't want L&T users to review Century Link configuration. Whatever virtual servers pool I am creating for AT&T, L&T customer should not have visibility of that. That is called partition, where particular customer will have their own container or set of objects. Are you getting me? It's just like a one F5 is divided into three partitions. Because I want shared F5, I have a shared F5 that can be used by multiple customer to save money. I don't want separate F5 to be installed for AT&T. I don't want separate F5 to be installed by L&T. I don't want separate F5 to be installed by Century Link. So what I'm creating, I'm dividing one F5 physical into three logical F5s or three logical partition. One partition, second partition, third partition. And all virtual server pool I will create here for AT&T, L&T, all virtual server pool, all objects for Century Link separate. So that by default there is a common partition. If you see guys, common partition have access to all the things. So see, can you see this? You never might have seen this so far concept of partition. Here you can see. So common partition is by default partition. So they have access to your common partition. Now, if I create a partition here, system users partition, here you can create. I will delete this. I'll create again. So what does it means is users of AT&T will be assigned to AT&T partition. They cannot see configuration related to L&T company. That is where partition logic comes. So how to create partition? I will create two partition. One is ATT finish. One is L&T finish. I will say L&T like this. Okay, now guys, what I will do is I will go to AT&T partition. Now I'll go to virtual servers of AT&T and I will create some configuration there. Like I will create ATT one virtual server 192.168.1.100. I'm creating one virtual server for AT&T. HTTP finish. And I will create one party LNT also. So it's saying that AT&T shares a okay. Let's give it 112. Maybe that virtual server is already been used. Okay, guys. Now I will go to LNT. You will notice one thing. AT&T will see AT&T and whatever there is in common partition. LNT will not see your AT&T. LNT will not able to see your AT&T configuration. Can you see this? See, whatever is created in common partition, that objects can be seen by other partitions. That is fine, right? Because common things can be used by multiple customers, right? Because this virtual servers I have created, that's fine. But can you see this partition does not have privilege to delete this? But I cannot see LNT, whatever configuration I'm creating on AT&T, I cannot see in LNT. That is why it is protected, right? I don't want IT users to see what is done in computer science. That is what is the logic of partition. Now I will create one virtual server in LNT also. Finish. Now you will see that when I will go to AT&T, you will not see LNT virtual server. That is where how you can protect one customer from another customer using one hardware. Now see, LNT can see this LNT1, right? Now let me do one thing. Let's delete all this. I will keep one virtual server. I'll delete rest so that you don't get confused. Anyways, not an issue. Now you will see that, see guys, now I will go to LNT. LNT will see this one, but it's not saying AT&T. Now I will go to AT&T. Can you see AT&T will not see LNT virtual server. It can see your common virtual servers plus AT&T, but it cannot see your LNT. That is what we want to protect. Now guys, if I want users to be assigned to particular partition, how you can give users create, let's say Ritesh, password 234 123. Now here role, let's say I have a role you guessed, partition, which partition I want, AT&T, finished. Now when I log in to Ritesh, he can only see AT&T configuration. Let's see. That is how you can define a role and partition access. Now I will log in via Ritesh as one user. One, two, three, four. See guys, I can see AT&T only, but I don't have any delete because why? First, there is a partition. See, user has two things, permissions. Which partition I need to give access and what is the role. Role I have given guest. Guest users does not have any creation configuration role. He cannot, he only can read only. He can only view the configuration, but he cannot change it. Let's say I want to create a pool, new virtual server. I cannot create it. That is where role comes into picture. So there are two things. Objects which are created on common partition can be shared to other partition. But objects created from specific partition, very important, can't be shared to other partition. And roles. So guys, there are different roles. Main role you need to understand is when you go here, system, users, help, there are a role section. I will log in to admin. I'll show you what are the roles available. System, you need to go to users, help, roles. So I will go. So can you see this? First role is no access. Means I don't want any access to user. So I want this user, let's say L1 user is Vinith. I don't want him to access my F5. Another role is guest. I want L1 users to have read-only access. Or I want him to have only L1 access to my F5. That In that case, you need to create one user Hemu and give him role as guest. Another role is operator. Operator role is it will only give permission to just disable pool and pool members. That's it. If someone user has operator role, it will just have permission to enable and disable pool members and nodes. And there is one new role, application editor, where you can modify your pool members, nodes, and other things. And then there is one role of certificate manager. Which will give you access only for certificate manager SSL certificates. They will only see SSL certificates and keys. That's it. Nothing else they can see. So that is where roles have. One role is auditor. So let's say some auditor wants to audit, they can only see your logs file, what is coming. See, auditor gives you read access for all objects, but they cannot modify any configuration settings. And one role is admin. Admin has all privileges. They can see everything. So that is the meaning of different roles. So mainly you will see admin role, maybe you will see guest role, auditor logs. That are the some roles which you will see. Now guys, once you are created partition, once you have created users, next term comes as route domain. How to play with different routing. So in Cisco guys, maybe you have played with VRF. So route domains are similar to VRF where you want F51 routing table to be divided into multiple routing tables. I have want see with route domain guys, you can allow multiple customers to use single F5. That is the main thing. So let's say you have a shared application, guys. What is the example of route domain is easiest example is let's say you have a shared hosting service, which is Sianets.com. Okay, which needs to be accessed by AT&T users, which needs to be used by L&T users. So with the help of route domain, you can provide this. In that case, you will use separate network space for this and separate network space for this. So route domains are just like a VRF, guys. So every route domain which you create, guys. So let me show you how to create route domain. You need to go to networks, route domain. Here you need to give route domain name. Let's say ATT. ID number, unique ID should be there. Here now you need to tell which VLAN you need to associate on this. So you will create first VLAN, self IPs and everything. Then you will tag here. Another thing is guys, let's say you're using shared F5 for multiple customers, guys. You have a shared F5 which you want to use for multiple customers. In that case, one customer AT&T wants to use 20 Mbps. They have one application which they want to utilize 20 Mbps. Let's say your total F5 bandwidth is 1 Gbps and you need to deploy 5 customers. So you can segregate your bandwidth also here. So route domains are generally where you want multiple customers want to use same F5. It's like a VRF, separate routing table. You need to divide one routing table into multiple routing table. You want to provide hosting services for multiple customer where you need to separate your address space and everything. Because it's single F5, right? Which you want to use for multiple customers. That is where route domain and partition comes in. First you create a partition, then you create a route domain.